Dan Tehan is the federal member for Wannon, which takes in much of the Grampians. He joins us now from the town of Hamilton. Dan, good to see you again. It has been a torrid week for your constituents. Some are still not in their homes yet, having moved to safer places, of course. What are your expectations about their ability to move back home, assess damage and get back to normal life?
Well, Greg, wonderful to join you this morning. And can I just start by, on behalf of all my local communities, just thanking everyone who did just such a remarkable effort in keeping everyone safe. There were very, very dangerous conditions on Boxing Day. The fire was out of control. It was flaring, it was spotting, and the work that everyone did to keep it under control, and then the work that everyone did in the centres, both the Ararat Rural City did a wonderful job setting up the relief centre there, the same with Northern Grampians in Stawell, and all the volunteers who went in and looked after all those people who had to leave their homes, and they had nothing but praise for all the efforts that had been made when I was speaking to people yesterday. Now, most people went back to their homes yesterday. There were some people who still just wanted to stay in those relief centres overnight again last night, just because they felt a little bit safer. My expectation is that they'll all return home again today, and everyone is just extremely grateful for the fact that more houses weren't lost, more property wasn't damaged. Sadly, there was livestock which was impacted, and once again people were out yesterday dealing with that. Just the way the community comes together, volunteers working with professionals, it's just remarkable to see.
Now, important to note those contributions, and you've done that for us. Thank you, Dan Tehan. So with these more favourable weather conditions, I guess, and people returning to their homes, there is now a better opportunity to assess the extent of damage. Lost livestock is an element of that, of course. Do you anticipate that the final tally on all fronts will be higher than what's currently reported?
I think, Greg, it's still too early to tell, but I think authorities are starting to get a good assessment of that. The fact that there wasn't more livestock lost, I think, was quite remarkable, and once again goes to those efforts on the fire ground by both the volunteers and those professional firefighters. So I think we've got a reasonably good assessment at this stage of the damage done. That the key thing now is going to be that they can be able to do more of that backburning. Obviously, the fuel load in the Grampians had built up quite excessively over a number of years, and one of the things that's going to need to be looked at, and we're going to once again have to need to review what has occurred, is making sure that we can find ways to keep that fuel load down, especially in a place like the Grampians. And all this is going to have to be looked at, as well as obviously the assessment of the damages that's been done by what has been quite an extensive fire.
Of course, and I'm sure there will be further debate over the management of that area. Federal relief payments, Dan Tehan, do you expect those to kick in for any affected residents?
Well, there has been already a couple of announcements by both the federal and state government of relief payments. I think now what needs to be looked at is what we can do for the tourism operators. Obviously, this time of year brings millions of dollars into the area. Now, all our tourism operators have seen all their bookings evaporate, understandably, but what we're going to need to be able to do, once it's safe to do so, is obviously have some sort of marketing campaign which once again highlights that the region is open for business, and can also advertise just the wonderful things that are on offer here in and around the Grampians. It's one of the most magical places to visit. People love it, whether they're a bushwalking enthusiast or just love to be able to get away from the city. So I think that's one of the things down the track that we're going to have to be able to look at. But at this stage, there is relief payments available. Obviously, for eligibility requirements and all that, you need to go to the website to find out all that information.